we get into our traffic update of this morning with Kendall Shillingford. All right, it seems our traffic update is not ready as yet, so we go back over to Steve Ibis Freeland Jr. to continue with the GN Sports Show.
She said, "Can continue with the GN Sports Show." Okay, Ali, yes, Ricky is in on your mind right here. I know she had the GN Sports Show, you know, that's how it is. So, guys, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Antigua Barbuda. Scott, Connor, everybody, good morning. We've been talking off camera. It's their first time here. So, I asked them about the beaches. They're like, yes. I asked about the food. Yes. He had his first roti the other day. Yeah. And I asked about the rum. And he's like, oh, man. Let's just get a background from both of you guys here. Let's start with you first and then let folks understand where we're going and why you're here with the GN FC.
So, I first obviously got introduced to Ricky. Ricky introduced a few players over in the UK that were Antiguan nationality. My job at Mansfield is I'm a coach, and I'm head of recruitment. So my job is very much bringing talent in to the academy that I work for, and also obviously speaking to other contacts that I've got at other clubs and introducing players to other clubs as well, because if they're not right for us, it might not be that they're not right in general, it might just be that we have a different criteria, so I can pass those player contacts on to other people. We worked together for probably about the last 18 months and got some players over to Mansfield, Christian Corbett being one at the moment. Christian's in our under-23 programme, our development programme, so he's doing really well. And as a result of that, Ricky launched, or was in the process of launching, the Calvin Ayre Foundation Academy, and asked for our help in setting up the infrastructure for that academy, which is going to be obviously the critical part of giving the players the best chance to develop, really, because if the infrastructure is not right, sometimes it's difficult to get the kids on. So it's making sure that academy is set up exactly right for them to get the best opportunity when people are looking at them in the future.
All right, Connor?
Perfect. I work as director and head coach at Mark Albright Centre of Development. Me and Mark set up a company in England about 3 or 4 years ago. And yeah, Mark is a Premier League footballer, Premier League winner. And me and Scott have done a lot of work together over the past few years. And I got offered an opportunity to come over and help Scott set up his programme. I mean, some of the ideas that he's came out with are fantastic, and I think they can really make a difference over here. Not only that, I mean, my connection to Mark is quite deep-rooted. He's married to my sister.
He's
married to my sister. So yesterday when we was at football, we actually got him on FaceTime with our younger group. So our under-11s, we got him on FaceTime, and seeing a lot of their faces meet a Premier League footballer, it made our week.
It's
made my week. So yeah, seeing how happy they were and how inspired they were, and after we played a match and they were playing like it. So yeah, I came over just to sort of assist Scott with the programme, and like you say, we just did as much help as we possibly can.
All right, so now you guys have experienced and seen the young talent that we have coming up here. What are your takes so far on the girls and the boys here?
But I mean, we've got 2 age groups running this week. We've got under 11s, 11s down, and we've got a 13s up. So mixed age groups. However, realistically, ability-wise, some of the young ones that are the youngest in their group against some of the older ones in their group, they're fine. The level of football is really high. There's some really, really good talent. There's been, we've identified already a couple of players in the younger age group that we think, if they was in England at the moment, which is, under 7s, is really young to talk about them being in an academy already, but they would be, we believe, exceptional talents already at 7, 8 years old. So that's been really pleasing to see that, I think Ricky's really impressed that you have got here talent, and although it's young, if it's nurtured and, as we talked about, the infrastructure of a proper academy is in place, we think that they'll have, an aspiration at some point to go and potentially chase their dreams, which is every kid's dream is to be a professional footballer. So, we want them to have that opportunity, really. But the older age group, there's 2 or 3 lads that we've seen already that we think, maybe in the next 12 months we're going to start putting things in place with GN. to bring them over to the UK, give them some trial opportunities to see where they're at against some of the current talent that we've got within the academy, and to see if we can offer them an opportunity with an educational platform so that they can come over and study education and do football.
I was about to get to that part, because it's not just about playing football.
No.
It's also educating you through sports.
Exactly.
So I know it's easy to say, okay, I like the fundamentals of you playing the game and everything, but what about being the business sense of things, being in school, getting your SATs, getting your scores up? That's the part that I was about to ask you, but you just mentioned about it. But if you want to elaborate some more on that, the importance.
When I recruit in the UK, and Connor works in schools, so he's very much involved in an educational football programme as well. When we work for Mansfield, when we recruit players, we already have to find out about their educational background, because if somebody's not at the level that they should be, we will possibly go for another player over them players. It's all never really just on talent. If we've got a player that's of equal talent but better educationally, he's going to be probably a better choice for us, because during all of our... We are very strict on what we do in the UK, especially at Mansfield. All of our courses are educational. So everything's got an educational stance on everything we do. And if they don't meet the criteria, or they're not up to speed on their coursework or their homework or whatever we call it, they get took out of football as a lesson that, you have to do 50% education and 50% football. And if one of those areas is not right, the other area will suffer.
That's just so true. Because the next thing I was going to ask you, because a lot of times we might think that, okay, our son or daughter not doing well in school, but then they love football. So we send them on the field and say, okay, maybe your mind will develop while you're playing. That's not the way to go. You made mention of, if your scores are not right, you can't play the game.
Yeah.
So that's encourage them. So you're in the school system, so you'd understand more of that and say, so do you take, even if you're top player within the school system, ain't doing good in academics, what do you do? You're top player. Please note, you're top player.
I think if anything, in football or in any sport now, there's lots of talented players. If you're not willing to go and educate yourself and go and challenge yourself mentally, then your game will suffer. And for me, if someone isn't putting the work in education side, that shows to me that they're not ready to go up to that next level, no matter if that's on the field or off the field. If they're not willing to put that sacrifice into work on their education, then will they sacrifice that extra 10% in a match? No.
True.
So it counterbalances itself, and if you're willing to put the work in, you can be Lionel Messi. If you're not going to put the work in, then you're going to stay where you are, and eventually you'll just fall off. That's my personal stance on it. And like you say, even though Lionel Messi didn't win again last night, I think in sport, Ronaldo would have got the job done. So
That's how it is.
and that's the same with education with kids. I think if they're not willing to go and do that sacrifice to better themselves, then eventually they'll get found out, and their football will suffer, and their education will suffer, and unfortunately it's a one-way street then.
And then you reap the benefit in the end.
Exactly.
That's the key
Exactly.
thing.
The thing that we say to the kids is very much the ones that have got a real positive attitude towards education. That they're fine. They look after themselves because they get on with their work. They engage in the classroom, and their standards of work are good. The scores are good, so they're fine. The ones that aren't really sort of engaging as much, we have to help them along and give them additional support. But effectively, we're just looking at the margins. You spoke about it with Ricky earlier. Such a small fraction of players will make an elite level as a profession. There's such a large amount of kids that will not make full time or not be able to say I had a career in sport. It's making them understand now that what they do and what work they put into the education will get them into, it might get them into sport, but not as a player. It might be a coach, it might be a physio, it might be somebody that does analysis.
Even a scout, get to
a
travel
scout,
the world.
exactly.
Get to
So
travel the world.
it's given them an overview that actually a job in sport doesn't just mean the actual performer, the player.
The player.
The backroom staff that take part in that.
But the backroom staff is important for that player. Because
Massively.
the player itself who's in the front.
Exactly.
Have to turn to those at the back and say, hey, I need this, I need it. Without you, I'm nothing.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Without you, I'm nothing. Being part of the team, the technical staff.
Exactly.
Come on, this is very important. Now, guys, I want to thank y'all for what y'all are doing here for the entire week. And I'm going to encourage you now to just let them understand before you leave. Just put it in their heads. Education is important. School is important. Getting your grades up, that is important. You have the talent, yes, but it doesn't go together without the proper head on your bodies. That's what it is. Now, I have you here before I leave after I ask the question. Congratulations, the UK teams are doing all good. The Premier League teams, everything, taking over the world. Yes. But for Euro 2020, who would you have?
I'll let him answer. I'm going to sit on the fence.
I should say Leicester City.
Yes.
I should say Leicester City. But I think Liverpool are the team that are on the uppity in the UK. I think Man City. I don't know. I'm going to say Leicester.
So for Premier League next season, do you think that Man United don't have a chance?
No chance.
You think City can stay at #1 position?
City or Liverpool for me.
Liverpool?
I don't see anyone stopping them for the next 2 years. Manchester United, they're in a bad place.
All right, what about you?
I'm going to say Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm going to say Liverpool.
Yeah.
I think they'll learn from their mistakes last year.
And
I think they'll put it right this year.
Fair enough. But I'm a Man United fan, so
So
Scott.
Glory Man United.
Yes. Not been able to sing that for a few years.
Well, we'll see what happens during the off season.
Fingers
Everything starts in August, so we'll be back again.
Yeah.
Well, our first game is against Chelsea. That's
Tough start. Two struggling teams.
He's having fun.
Yeah.
You're having fun laughing.
I support Aston Villa. So Aston Villa have just got promoted to the Premier League. So we've got Tottenham first game of the season. So we're definitely going to lose. So I don't know why I'm laughing.
Listen, but look, Leicester did it a year. Remember, Leicester just went straight.
Yeah.
We shocked everybody. So that can happen.
Yeah, me and Scott were fortunate enough, obviously, with Mark's ties. We got to go to more or less every single game.
That
home
season.
and away. Home and away. It was amazing.
So you had fun that
We
season.
watched that, the whole season develop, and it got to about Christmas, and we spoke to Mark and we said, surely you can't win this, can you? And he's like, I'm not really sure. Jan still in the driving seat, Feb still in the driving seat, and we was actually round Mark's house the final game where Chelsea beat Tottenham, which made Leicester champions. We was around his house, weren't we?
Yeah, it was all celebrating.
That was a party.
Yeah, it was a really good party. Yeah.
No rum.
Before we go, that's another discipline.
Oh.
When it's season time, there are a lot of... We're talking about the education.
Yeah.
But what about the type of food, the type of things that you do, the partying, especially during season?
Yeah, no, at the top level, I mean, obviously, even at the lower levels of league, elite football, you don't understand the athletes, the dedication levels that they put in, the sacrifices that they put in. Some people would say, I'll just have a beer or have a quick drink. There's none of that. It is literally the right food at the right time, the right sleep at the right time, wake up at the right time, perform at the right level.
Yeah.
It's so dedicated. I see that, and Connor sees that all the time.
Yeah.
It's such fine margins between success and failure that they can't afford to take risks.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we gotta go, guys.
No worries.
Nice meeting you. Continue to do what you're doing. I'll follow everything, and I'll hit you up on social media and say, "Listen, Manchester just won! United!" All right. So just keep educating, keep recruiting, keep finding that single talent in our young boys and girls, and letting them know, right? It's not just because you have that talent mean you go places. You have to have that education too within your mind. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Antigua Bar